It's time for some predictions for the month of August. Hello everybody, I'm Tina Chaudhry. Welcome to my channel and a very warm namaste. Aham Brahmasmi. Before I begin with predictions or talking about the month, I'm going to do my most favorite part of my monthly predictions, which is wishing my viewers that have birthdays in August a very, very happy birthday. May this personal new year that you're going to start be filled with happiness, prosperity, lots of success, and may all your dreams be fulfilled this year. May this year be the happiest year ever. May my divine bless you with everything that you've always desired. But above all, may this year be filled with happiness and pure bliss and joy that you find within your hearts. Last month, I had mentioned that if you want me to call out your name in my August predictions, I would personally wish you a happy birthday. So here we go. I have a list of people. Now, I only know your, handle, your Facebook handle, your YouTube handle. So I will just quickly run through the names of the people that wanted me to call out their names to wish you a very happy birthday. So very happy birthday to Annabelle, Ariane Fernandez, Salima, The Real McCoy, Nayar Jaffrey, Barbara Del Rocco, Brittany O'Brien, Kathy O, Gun Sen, I'm sorry, I probably didn't say that night, but you know who you are. Shireen Musa, Mini Joneja, 3K, I know that's not your name, but that's your handle. X Secular, that's your handle. Siri Purvaya, Ruby S, Pink Flower Girl, pretty name. Ali Khan Sahab, Hema Malini, Tosca Manuel, Beats by Bless Out, Avinash T, Chantal C, Kelly U, Maya, M-I-A, Alicia M, and DJ This Butte. So I hope I got everybody. So happy birthday personally to all of you viewers that requested a happy birthday from me. And may you have the most blessed, beautiful year ever. So first and foremost, we're always going to look at the planetary alignments and the transits that are going to take place in August. August is going to be an eventful month for all of us, and I'll tell you why in just a second. Let's take a look at the planetary transits first. So the first transit is going to be on August 6th, and it's going to be the transit of Venus. So Venus right now is in the zodiac sign of Leo, but it has been retrograde since July 22nd. So it last month had a very difficult crossing of the Gandant, which is moving from Cancer to Leo. A Gandant is a karmic knot that exists between a water and a fire sign. So it's in the nakshatra of Ashlesha. It crossed that finally after much difficulty, came into the zodiac of Leo. And then on August 6th, because it's in a retrograde motion, it's going to go back into the sign of Cancer. So not only is Venus retrograde right now, but on August 6th, it's going to make that Gandant crossing. So Venus has been very troubled lately. It's going to stay a little troubled till October because it's going to be retrograding. And then because once it moves back into the direct motion, it's going to have to make this difficult Gandant crossing, which is going from the sign of Cancer back into Leo. It's going to have to do that again next month. So right now it's retrograding. It's really creating some relationship issues for all of us. I'll talk about that in just a minute, but that's the first transit. Now the next transit is going to be on August 7th, which always happens. So Sun always has a transit in the middle of the month. So the Sun actually goes from Cancer and it goes into Leo. Now Leo is owned by the Sun, so the Sun comes into its own house, which is actually a wonderful thing for the Sun. Obviously, Sun likes being in its own house. Any planet likes being in its own house. So that's a positive transit. And then the next transit is the next day, which is on August 18th. Mars, which was in Leo, is going to move into the next sign of Virgo. So those are the three transits that actually are going to happen in August. The other thing that happens in August is going to be by the planet of Mercury. Mercury does not have a transit, so to speak, in August, but on August 23rd, it's going to start its retrograde motion in the zodiac of Leo. It's in Leo, and because the sun will come into Leo as well, and Mercury is going to get really close to it. So first it's going to get combust. A combust planet is a planet that gets very close to the sun, and because it's that close, it gets burnt, so to speak, and it's unable to give its benefic results, or really any results. So first it gets combust, and then also it starts its retrograde motion on August 23rd. So here we have it. This month is going to be, first of all, a lot of planets are in Leo. So that's going to be the most active zodiac. So you have to kind of look at where Leo is placed for each ascendant. And I've talked about that in my predictions for each ascendant. So take a look at where Leo is placed in your ascendant. Also, you need to take a look and see where the sun is placed in your birth chart. And so you might see lots of impact because of the placement of the sun, and also where Leo falls in your zodiac, in your birth chart. And so because that zodiac is so heavily impacted by so many planets coming and going, but 3 planets really influencing it: the sun itself, Mercury going retrograde in it, and then Venus moving out of it, but being retrograde in it even now as we speak, even before August starts, you're going to see a lot of impact of Leo. Of course, the people that are Leo's ascendants are feeling a lot of it too. So let's take a look at what these retrograde positions mean for us, just very quickly, and then we'll do predictions for the month of August. So I'm going to just talk quickly about what retrograde Venus and what retrograde Mercury does. But before I move on, I just have to show you my beautiful bouquet, the summer bouquet that I've received from Rose Forever. People that have watched my channel in the past probably have seen me get these bouquets from one of my wonderful viewers. Her name is Marina, and she works for this company called Rose Forever. Okay, and now these are real roses, so just look at how beautiful they are. Okay, and these are natural, real roses that they preserve with natural oils and natural pigmentations. You will not believe this. This bouquet is going to last me at the minimum 1 year. I got some bouquets from her in the past. One I got on Diwali last year, beautiful orange bouquet, and it's still sitting in my living room looking just as gorgeous as it was the day I received it. Now, this box and these roses, everything they used is vegan. Now, if you want to order something from her for summer, for your graduation parties or for the weddings, so many weddings this year. In fact, I'm going to a wedding in August as well. But for weddings, for gifts, for hostess gifts, or for anything in the summer, make sure you order from this company called Rose Forever. They offered my viewers a coupon, a $25 coupon, and you can get the link below in my in the description box. So you can put Chaudhry 25, but the link is below. The website is below, but these roses, they're amazing. I've ordered them several times. I've even sent them to, my friends and family, and they've had them on their tables, and, they've just had them forever, and they just last, and they look so beautiful. So she sent me one for the summer. And so today I wore white just to match my beautiful roses. So I just have you look like a close look at them. And if you touch them, they feel like real, because they are real roses. So all natural, all vegan. And if you want to order them, make sure you go to the website in my description box, use your coupon, and order something from her. They already have a sale going on. So I'm just going to leave them right here so they look beautiful in my video. Now let's take a look at the Venus retrograde. So Venus retrograde, obviously, Venus, relates to our relationships in our life. It also relates to our financial situation. Venus is the ruler of finance. How much money we're going to earn in our life is ruled by the placement of Venus, not just relationships. And relationships always depend on money nowadays anyway, so nothing bad about that. But when Venus is retrograde, what a retrograde planet does is it kind of looks to the zodiac sign before it. And so the zodiac, it's in Leo, and now it's looking kind of back at Cancer, and Cancer's the zodiac of emotions. So right now, while Venus is retrograde, a lot of emotions are bubbling to the surface. We're in our relationships, we're getting very emotional. A lot of people may have a lot of tears that come out too, because Cancer does reflect tears also. So a lot of people may be crying, maybe bringing up issues. Retrograde also means things that happened in the past, unresolved issues that happened in the past. So a lot of you may be bringing up those issues with your loved ones and in your relationships about the past, and there may be tears about it there, because these are emotions or issues that happened in the past within relationships that didn't get closure, or they weren't resolved to everybody's satisfaction. So this is what is happening right now with the Venus retrograde, and then this continues, in August. So this is what's happening right now. My guidance to you is that you handle this with maturity. This Venus retrograde is a very, very strong impact on all of us, where we reflect back on things that happened in the past. We get upset, we cry, we fight, and so this is what happens. Handle it with maturity is all I can tell you. Also, because it relates to finance, there could be financial issues that happened in the past that are now coming up. It could also mean some expenses that were incurred, got forgotten, and now they come up and now you have to pay. So it has a financial implication on all of us as well. Things that happened in the past, or that you didn't close out, didn't pay, got forgotten, happens in the past as well. This is not a good time to make any financial decisions because Venus is retrograding, but the other planet that rules finance and business, which is Mercury, is also going to retrograde at the end of August, which is August 23rd. So what that does is, so here we have Venus retrograding, impacting relationships. Everybody's being very emotional right now and thinking of everything that, people didn't do well, blah, blah, blah. You didn't fulfill your obligation, so to speak. And then here we have Mercury that retrogrades at the end of August. And so what Mercury's retrograde does is, because Mercury rules our communication, it rules our speech. And so at that time, what happens a lot during Mercury retrograde, which happens at least 3 times a year, is we tend to say things without thinking, or we tend to say things that get misunderstood, or we misspeak. And so there's miscommunication and there's misunderstandings based on our communication, our speech pattern. So those are things you need to watch for when Mercury gets retrograded. I told you August was going to be an interesting month. So here we have 2 planets that are retrograding, and they're both like a little hell-bent on ruining relationships, because when you're talking, you're obviously talking to other people, and you don't say the right thing, you're going to ruin a relationship. Already Venus is challenged. So here we have it, we say the wrong thing, and then the other person misunderstands us, and then the relationship is damaged for some while. So be careful about how you say things. Be careful about what you say, and think before you speak when Mercury is retrograde. Very, very famous for damaging relationships, because you've said something, the other person doesn't understand it in how you meant to say it. So definitely misunderstandings creep up during the Mercury retrograde process. It's only there till I think September 15th. So thank God Mercury retrogrades only for a short time. So you kind of have to watch your speech pattern, your communication. The other thing that Mercury retrograde is always very famous for is your data and your accuracy at work, or accuracy whatever you do. So if you work with large data sets, obviously everybody works on a computer nowadays. You're working on a computer, try to make sure you save your work constantly, because computers, iPads, all electronic devices tend to malfunction during a Mercury retrograde. So make sure if you're doing large works of data sets or whatever, you constantly save your data. So if malfunction or it freezes or it actually just burns out, you've saved your work. So that's one of the things that I can tell you, is that electronic devices certainly start to malfunction during a Mercury retrograde. And also people tend to make a lot of errors, like detail errors, accuracy errors. So make sure you double check your work, double check your emails, double check communication, whether they're in writing also as also what you're speaking. I almost made an error in my transit details before I started my video, and I looked at it and I'm like, that's not right. So I almost did that, and Mercury is not even retrograding, but because I'm talking about it, I kind of manifest that energy. So check your accuracy very carefully during Mercury retrograde, and also check your electronic devices to make sure they don't malfunction and you lose data. Those are my 2 guidance things for the month of August. Now I'm going to move on to predictions, but some of the predictions for some ascendants may be a little difficult or challenged, so I mean, those are the predictions. You know, people always tend to complain about, oh, it's looking grim, or it's too nice, it's too bad. Well, I predict what I see. You know, I'm not going to predict based on what people want to hear. I predict based on what I see. So I'm sorry that there's some ascendants. Yes, it's going to be a challenge month, but that's what I see. I try to find the good in every month for every ascendant, but sometimes I just have to say what I see, because, you know, I'm almost trying to kind of prepare you for what's coming, so you're not so disappointed. Once we know it's going to be a challenging month, it's easier to prepare for it. So just take it with a grain of salt. And of course, you know, everybody's birth chart is different, so the predictions may not be 100% you know, true for all of you, because it obviously depends on your own birth chart. It also depends on what dasha mahadasha you're undergoing. So 100% may not work for you, because these are general predictions. They're based on the transits of planets, and so of course your own birth chart is always going to be more accurate than general transit predictions that, you know, any astrologer is going to do on YouTube. My predictions are based on Vedic astrology, and also my predictions are based on your rising sign or ascendant sign. Aries for August. Aries, Saturn has been staying retrograde in the 11th house, which means an ongoing delay in getting a professional success. But it also means that there may be some unfinished work or issues that need to either be completed or need your attention before you can move forward in your professional growth and career. Reflect back to the past and think what was left unresolved or not completed satisfactorily. It's time to either redo it or get some final closure on it and complete it. It could also mean a professional relationship from the past that has now resurfaced or has come back and needs some closure. The middle of the month is a very good time to get good visibility, so make sure your work is perfect and you are at your best, so you're ready to get noticed in a very positive way. As far as relationships are concerned, Mercury and Venus are retrograde in the 5th house. Mercury retrogrades later in the month, indicating issues from the past relating to love life. It could be children or your business partner. A former love relationship may even resurface for whatever reason. Because of the Mercury retrograde later in the month, as well as Venus retrograding at the same time, be extremely cautious with your communication with literally everyone. This could impact your relationships for a very long time. Chances of miscommunication and being misunderstood are very high. The misunderstanding could be by the other person as well as yourself. For those Aries that are married, there may be chances of some conflicts that arise within the marriage with your spouse due to items or occurrences or things or events that happened in the past. Now, these are things that happened in the past due to either family members or finance related issues. Do your best to diffuse this tension. There's no point in fighting at this time. Communication issues are already present due to the Mercury retrograde. So it's best to not get into a conflict at this time, because things could get out of hand very quickly. Even your boss could bring up your mistakes from the past because of the fact that Mercury retrogrades in the 5th house. The 5th house relates to your seniors. It could also be related to your father, where your father has a misunderstanding because of something that you did in the past. Be calm, composed, and be ready to explain in a better way as opposed to taking up a fight. In fact, there could even be some expenses from the past that resurface now and need to be handled or paid off. As far as health is concerned, this is a very good month. It's a good recovery month because the 5th house is extremely active. The 5th house is the house of recovery and feeling well. Now, Mercury retrogrades after the 23rd, so there's a chance of a past health issue resurfacing. It could relate to your shoulders, your chest, and your throat. Some of you may have digestive issues due to poor choice of what you eat. So make sure you're eating healthy after the 23rd, or some of you may have some digestive issues. Now, this is nothing terribly bad because your ascendant Lord Mars is in the 6th house and it gives you great recovery energy. So nothing to worry about, just something small. As far as students are concerned, it's wonderful until the 23rd, and you're going to do great, especially in relationship to competitive exams. After the 23rd, you need to have extra caution with your work and your accuracy, and save your data on your electronic devices. There's a chance that you make mistakes. There's also a chance that you lose your data because of electronic devices malfunctioning. And you also need to focus on stuff and not dwell on past issues that happened in your academics. Taurus for August. Taurus, your ascendant Lord Venus is in a very disturbed situation over the next few months. This month, it's going to start with its retrograde in the 4th house for you. Now, certainly this impacts your career, relationships, as well as health. Well, that's about everything, isn't it? Well, Saturn is already retrograde in the 10th house, so it's been putting a lot of pressure on you to put extra effort in your job. Now, this month, you also need to focus on your relationships at work and in your career. There could be some matters or people from the past that resurface that you now need to have to deal with again. It could even be a relationship that wasn't handled well that now needs your attention again. There's also a chance of some job changes after mid-month for some Taurians as well. Business owners may feel profitability to be quite low this month. Financially, Taurus has struggled with high expenses for a long time because they've had Rahu and Jupiter in the 12th house. They've also had many impulsive spending. Now, this month is no exception, except now there may also be a tendency to take on extra loans or get into a debt situation as well. Some Taurians may be getting very tempted to spend on either real estate or household items like renovations or stuff like that, or even buying high ticket items like buying a car. So be cautious. If you can afford it, by all means do it. If you can't, think twice before taking on debts and loans in order to buy those expensive items. For those Taurians that don't have formal careers, they have, they kind of stay at home, they're retired, or they're homemakers. There can be a lot of pressure or additional work responsibility at home, and you may get tired and feel a lack of energy. However, this is the month where your effort and your hard work will be noticed by your family members, and you may get support and appreciation from them. So this is a good month. You have been putting in the effort, and now this is the month where it gets noticed and appreciated by your family members. You may also get lots of support this month from your family members. Relationships and communication is going to be the main focus for you for the next few months. Everything you say, how you say it, and to who you say it lays the foundation for the next future months, not only in the workplace but also at home. Watch your words very carefully at this time. This is a time when some people may leave your life and new people may come into your life over the next few months. And it all depends on you who these people are coming and going into your life. So think and focus on your relationships and handle them accordingly. Make your choices in a smart way. Venus, your ascendant ruler, is retrograde, and so it's a time when you will make certain choices in your life on how to handle relationships and which relations you want to handle with care. As I mentioned, your ascendant ruler Venus is retrograde, so health is going to be impacted slightly in that you may feel stressed and you may have some digestive issues. Nothing very significant, but just be careful because of the fact that relationships and work is going to put some pressure on you, and so you may feel a little stressed at this point. Otherwise, it's not a bad time for your health. Just take care of what you eat and avoid any digestive issues. Gemini. For August. Gemini, your ascendant Lord Mercury will retrograde later in the month on the 23rd. So for you, there is the period before the retrograde, and then there's the period after the retrograde where the situation is going to be quite different from before the retrograde period. So for you, it's an interesting month to say the least. Gemini has had a very favorable phase in terms of their finance and monetary rewards. This month, it is also favorable in terms of new job opportunities and recognition in the workplace. After mid-month, you have a burst of enthusiasm and energy and feel like taking on new initiatives, as well as luck favors you because of the sun's transit in the 3rd house. You could actually end up being in the right place at the right time to get noticed. So make sure you're presentable at all times and ready to be noticed by all the right people. People that work in the public media and sales fields, this is the most favorable time for you. So be prepared to seize every opportunity that comes your way and watch for those opportunities so you don't miss them. Business owners, also, it's an awesome month to enjoy good profits. Now, the key to all of this, whether you're employed or a business owner, is to expand your professional and social network. Make an effort to reach out to all those that can help you and request their help. It's a lucky month. You may actually get it. And then, Gemini, as you're rocking and rolling, comes the end of the month or towards the end of the month on the 23rd, and your ascendant Lord Mercury goes into a retrograde. This is where your fun seems to kind of stop, and there's a chance that you're going to say the absolute wrong things to the wrong people because your communication is going to be quite challenged. Mercury retrogrades in the third house. The third house is the house of speech and communication, and Mercury is the Lord of speech and communication. And that's probably not a very good combination. So this is what you're going to do. You're going to start dredging up all issues, past issues and incidents with family members, and you're going to start probably arguments and some conflicts. Now this is probably going to be especially with siblings because this is in the third house, or it could be related to sibling matters. And so extreme caution I'm going to put out. Don't start these fights. They will end badly. You may also regret what you say next month as soon as Mercury goes direct. So just this is a month where I'm just really going to put a caution out there for Gemini, especially more than any other ascendant. Mind your own business as much as possible. The worst thing that you could do is say the wrong thing, miscommunicate, and regret things later. Also, don't go on social media and say things because impulsively or in a bad mood. So you can end up doing that and have a very bad issue on your hands as well. So refrain from commenting on social media as well. And let's talk about a relationship with your spouse and also with those at work. May also take on a bit of a combative tone because Mars is impacting both these relationships. So after the 23rd, it's going to be a test to see how you can manage to not get into arguments with lots of people. So you have been cautioned by me. Your speech and communication, definitely watch out for. Everything else is such a positive. It's a short phase, it'll pass. Cancer. For August, Cancer, this might be one of the improved months for you compared to the gloomy predictions that I have been giving out to Cancer for a while. And the reason is simple, that Mars and Sun have very favorable transits for you this month. As far as career is concerned, some Cancers may get recognized and rewarded in their job or their career. In fact, some of you may even get a job change with some favorable monetary impacts as well. It's a good financial month for Cancer. This month, you may also have great energy and enthusiasm to take on new initiatives and projects. As some of you may even be given some new exciting work related to your career. So it's time to take on whatever you are given with positivity and excitement. If some of you have been looking for a job, this is a good month, a good possibility of getting one. So make sure you step up the efforts in order to find a job. Let's talk about the Venus retrograde impact for you. So it mostly impacts your expenses. So this may not be a favorable time to do any financial planning or extravagant impulsive spending. Try to save your money. So remember, I said it's a favorable month as far as good income is concerned. So instead of spending it all, you may try to save some of it. It's a good month to do that. Now, although I'm saying that because I do see you spending money on family or family related events. So do whatever you can to try to not spend so much and make an effort to save your money. As far as family is concerned and as far as relationships is concerned, the Mercury retrograde at the end of the month after August 23rd, it happens in your second house, and the second house relates to family and finance. So it's a time when there could be some disturbance within the family members, and the reason is going to be that some people are wanting to drag out some past issues with your family members. Especially it could happen around sibling related issues or even financial related matters, and then everybody's going to talk about what happened in the past, and then soon enough the discussion is going to get ugly, and then the possibility of starting an argument and everybody's feelings are getting hurt. So it's a better idea to stay out of those discussions because the Mercury retrograde is pretty powerful and it leads to misunderstandings and miscommunication issues. So try to stay away from those kind of heavy discussions with family members after the 23rd when Mercury is retrograde. As far as health is concerned, some of the Cancer people have been bothered with some nagging health issues because Saturn has been in the eighth house, and typically that kind of, is not very good from a health perspective. So, and Saturn being retrograde right now, what may happen is that it may bring back some old health issues in your legs and your feet. And this month it could also be some dental issues because of the second house being pretty activated. But you know what? It may not really bother you as much, or you may have good recovery, or you may find fast relief from it. It may not be bothering you as much, or you may find something that gives you permanent relief from it. So I wouldn't be worried about it too much. Overall, it's an improved month over the last few months, so enjoy it, and just manage the Mercury retrograde and your communication with family members. Otherwise, overall, excellent month. Leo, for August. Leo, here comes a favorable month for you because after the second half of the month, your ascendant ruler sun moves into your own ascendant house, giving you lots of great energy, aura, and good health. This month, your zodiac Leo has a lot of activity going on in it, so it's an eventful and a changeable month for you as well. As far as the Venus retrograde that's happening in your ascendant house is concerned, that can put a lot of focus on career-related issues. So things from the past may come up in your career, or you may be thinking about those things that happened in the past in terms of how to proceed in the future. So some Leos may actually even get rewarded or recognized for their past efforts as well, especially after the middle of the month when the sun moves into your own ascendant house. A job change for the better for some of Leos is also possible, although some Leos may have to deal with a few challenges with relationships with coworkers. So you may have to resist the urge to get upset with them or let ego get in the way of professional relationships, especially, like I said, after the second half of the month when the sun is also in your ascendant house and Venus is retrograding at the same time. The focus is going to be on your career and your relationships in your career. So be very aware of how you have to deal with people in the workplace, your current relationships at work and past relationships at work, and the issues that you may have had in the past with relationships in your career. One other impact of the Venus retrograde is going to be on relationship with siblings. And so that's going to cause a little bit of a disturbance, especially if you let past issues in your life bother your relationship with siblings and you want to keep bringing them up and having, fights or arguments about them, then that could be a pretty disturbing event as well. And so watch your relationship with siblings as well during this time and don't bring up past issues with them. Now, later in the month, on August 23rd, Mercury also retrogrades in your own ascendant house. I did say your ascendant house is very busy this year. So this can provide some disturbance in family relationships. And the topic of disturbance for that Mercury retrograde is going to be financial related issues. Again, there could be financial related issues that occurred in the past or even current, but definitely, like I mentioned, there's sibling issues that come up. There's financial issues that happen in the past that come up. So Leo's going to go through, like I said, a very interesting month where both Mercury, Venus retrogrades are really going to be bothersome. So they need to really watch their communication. They really need to nurture relationships as opposed to getting into fights and arguments with especially family members, siblings, and in the workplace. But the Mercury retrograde does have some good news attached to it in that there may be the possibility of an old friend, old social network person, professional network person reaching out to you after a long time, and you may be enjoying some good time with them. The very last piece of advice is that after the second half of the month, watch your ego and watch a little bit of that temper, because when the sun moves into the first house, it does kind of give you a little bit of a temper and ego. So just kind of watch that, especially with your marital partner. Otherwise, you know what? This is a positive month in terms of a career and finance. Just watch those relationships, watch that communication. Virgo, for August. Virgo, the month starts off very favorably in terms of career and financial rewards. You get good recognition and visibility as well as overall appreciation. Then on the 23rd, things take a bit of a turn when your ascendant Lord Mercury goes retrograde in the 12th house. The 12th house is a house of expenses, losses, and also a little bit of isolation. Although this means that there could be an increase in expenses, especially sudden expenses related to past events or some past expenses that you didn't know about and now you have to pay for them. Also, there could be losses related to financial planning. So be very cautious with monetary investments at this time after the 23rd. Don't do anything risky. Definitely don't make any risky investments in business or otherwise. On the happy side, this Mercury retrograde indicates that some friends or contacts from your past may come back or reach out to you again. And so you may enjoy a good time with them again because the retrograde does point to the 11th house. The 12th house is also house of travel, long distance travel. So it also could mean that some Virgos would travel back to somewhere that from your past or somewhere where you've been in the past. So a lot of your travel houses are getting activated. So some Virgos are going to be traveling. For Virgo, Mercury also rules your career. So check your work accuracy thoroughly in the retrograde period from August 23rd onwards. There could be miscommunication or misunderstandings at work, and also you could be making some errors that you find later. So make sure you check your work thoroughly and also check the written communication, verbal communication as well. So you make sure there's no errors in that. Also, like I said, miscommunication, misunderstanding with colleagues could exist at this time in the workplace. So make sure you're checking your dates, your details, all kinds of stuff very accurately and checking it thoroughly. Make sure it's accurate. Business owners also experience some lower profits this month because, like I said, the 12th house of losses is activated this month. So be cautious about investing this month. Now, family relationships may experience a bit of a difficulty due to the Venus retrograde. It seems like people in the family want to focus on past events, hold past grudges. Just let this time pass. It's not worth fighting back. The Venus retrograde and the Gandant phases is going to go on for about 2 months. And for you, Virgo, Venus does represent family and relationships. So there's going to be a bit of trouble and difficulty in getting along with family members. And it's your speech pattern that's going to guarantee how well you get through this phase. So watch your speech very carefully, your communication very carefully, watch your words very carefully, what you're saying, how you're saying it too. Because the next couple of months may be just a little bit troublesome in how you get along with family and how things can be very easily misunderstood. It may not be your intention to say something, but the other person might take it in the wrong phase. And that's what happens during a Mercury and Venus retrograde combined. As far as health is concerned, it's stable. Now, some Virgos might experience issues with their eyes during this time, but not all of them. It's just a minor little guidance, but definitely not all of you, and it's definitely not something to worry about. Health is stable. Don't worry about it. Libra for August. Libra, this month your ascendant Lord Venus is going to start with going retrograde. Then it has a difficult next month as well because it goes through the Gandant phase. We'll talk about that next month. Libra, for you, Venus is obviously rules your ascendant house, so it rules your physical body. And the other thing Venus rules is the 8th house. The 8th house, a house of sudden events. It's also the house of transformation. And of course, the 8th house does represent obstacles, delays, and when it's combined with the first house, then it can also relate to some health issues. So one of the things that you really need to be cautious of in this month, especially after the retrograde phase, is to watch out for any health issues that come up. I'm not saying everybody will come up with health issues, but it's just something that you can, think of. Now, one of the things that, on a very positive note can also happen for Libras is that they may go a physical transformation of sorts over the next couple of months. And it could be a very positive transformation. Some Libras can have physical transformation, meaning their bodies could change in the way they like them. If you've been working out a lot, you may feel like you have a better body, the body that you wanted. Some Libras may get a makeover, physical change, get a new hairstyle, get something new done to their, bodies that's positive in some way. So it can also be considered something very positive. to do. If you're looking to do a makeover, change something about your appearance, this is just the perfect time to do it. It's going to go well, so definitely do it, because Venus is in the 11th house, the house of desires and fulfillment. So this transformation talks mostly about positive things that you can happen to transform yourself. As far as career is concerned, there could be some delays in completing tasks at work. The pressure and responsibilities at work will seem to be higher than normal, and due to this, you could end up making some mistakes in your work. So just double check your work. Don't forget, Mr. Mercury is also retrograde, and Mercury represents accuracy. So just kind of double check all of that. Make sure you're not making any mistakes, because you're under pressure. However, after mid-month, the time is favorable for getting benefits of your hard work and even getting good recognition for your efforts. Business owners may see some good profits in the beginning of the month. However, due to the 2 retrograde planets, that is not a good time to make new investments or get any new partnerships deals during this phase. Now, financially, I will say it's a period of ups and down situation, because even though I did say it's financially rewarding, there could be good returns, rewards. There's going to be high expenses as well, because Mars does go into the 12th house of expenses. So it's going to be high expenses. So control your spending. I know there could be good gains, but it's probably a better idea to save it as opposed to spend it, because the temptation to spend will be high this month. As far as health is concerned, some Libras may have digestive issues or some skin related problems, and some may even have some eye infection related problems. Nothing much. These will be very minor and you could recover pretty well. Nothing to be concerned about, just small naggy issues. As far as love and relationships, there could be some sensitive issues that get brought up and emotional encounters that are possible as well in both love relationships as well as within the marriage. Resist the temptation to bring up past issues and start discussions and fights about them. Manage your expectations with your loved ones and manage your speech and communication well. And if you can take care of those 2 things, then you shouldn't have too much to worry about in love and relationships. Scorpio for August. Scorpio, this month there are 2 planets, Venus and Mercury, that are going to retrograde in your 10th house of your career. So Venus rules relationships, Mercury rules your financial situation. So this impact not only will be on your career, but also be on your relationships, but mainly on your financial situation. So speaking about your financial situation first, because your ascendant ruler Mars transits to the 11th house, which is a house of gains, material gains and desires. Your focus is now on how to get more gains or financial rewards. You may also now have a very big desire to make additional money or more money. And in that will be 2 things. Firstly, their ongoing dissatisfaction with your career. So Scorpio has had that. And the second thing is the expenses for Scorpio have been so high that now this month there is a possibility that some Scorpios may even get into the situation of taking out either loans or getting into a high debt situation. So you have to be very careful about that and not put yourself in that situation. So because your ascendant ruler Mars does go into the 11th house of gains, there is a possibility of good gains. At the same time, you have high expenses and that are almost out of control sometimes. So you now have a very up and down month where you have good gains, but your expenses are high, and then you're getting into the possible situation of loans and debts. So you need to make very wise financial choices at this time. The Mercury retrograde can actually challenge your ability to make wise financial choices. So that's going to be the issue this month. Try not to make financial decisions after the 23rd, which is the Mercury retrograde, because some of them may not be the best decisions and you may regret them later. And the second impact is love relationships. So those can get also challenging, especially with your spouse, and that can be due to lack of understanding and your spouse's constant expectations from you. It may not be a good idea to bring up past issues with loved ones and start arguments because of them. Unfortunately, Venus is retrograde phase, and then the next 2 months is going to go through a Gandant or a troubled phase. So this kind of troubling phase in relationship lasts for a couple of months. So you're just going to have to show restraint and not get into arguments and fights for the next couple of months at least. As far as career is concerned, I kind of mentioned it already that Scorpio has been experiencing a sense of dissatisfaction and looking for a change for a while now. This might be heightened this month due to the 2 retrograde planets. Some Scorpios may actually have a job change this month, and if you're the one looking for a job, this might be a good month to get a new job. There's even a chance that you might go back to work for an old job or somewhere where you used to work, or get called back from a place of where you used to work before. Health is status quo with no worries this month, although if your mother has had health issues in the past, they may resurface or recur now, so you need to take good care of your mother's health. Sagittarius for August. Sagittarius, let's talk about your career first. It's a month of mixed results, which means slow but steady growth in your career. You will be required to put in a lot of effort at this time to complete pending work and projects. The chance of advancement and growth is a definite possibility, and also getting recognition in the workplace may happen this month, especially after mid-month when the sun moves into the house of luck, the 9th house. You may win against competition if necessary at that time as well. So if you're fighting to get a job or you're wanting to get a promotion, you may just get it. The chances of getting a new job, like I said, is possible, especially if it is associated with either moving abroad or working with a foreign company or foreign country. Anything to do with overseas, that's a positive indication. After the Mercury retrograde on the 23rd, review your accuracy at work and also your relationships with coworkers. Make sure you show respect to coworkers and your superiors, because whatever you do and however you behave, you're going to get noticed by everyone. So it's obviously best to be very accurate, to say the right things, be at the right place at the right time, not make any mistakes, because like I said, you'll be noticed. Financially, it's also a stable month, although there is a possibility of getting into a high debt or a loan situation, most likely from the past, that may need to be handled now. You need to be careful how you handle your spending. So now is the time when you want to be a little bit controlled on your spending, and especially if you've had loans in the past or debt situation in the past, you may need to handle it now. The Venus retrograde is not a good time to make important financial decisions. So if there's very important ones that you need to make, you just kind of have to wait for another month or so before you make any financial important planning or other financial decisions you need to make. As far as health is concerned, it's also impacted by the Venus retrograde. So it's possible you get a little obsessive about your personal fitness goals and have a tendency to be too careful about your diet and exercise. There's nothing wrong with that. Just don't get too obsessive about it. But I guess it's always better to be too careful about it than to neglect your health. So manage it accordingly. Relationships are going to be challenged due to your communication style, and that's because of the Mercury retrograde. So avoid being confrontational and too direct. Also manage your ego when dealing with loved ones. Being bossy and telling others off is probably going to damage a lot of your relationships. So control that tendency. So your house of marriage is ruled by Mercury, and definitely the Mercury retrograde impacts your marital relationship. So don't dredge up old things, old incidents, and try to, start a fight with that. That's probably not going to end well at all. So the guidance overall for Sagittarius is to manage their communication style and to nurture relationships, as opposed to being bossy, being, demanding of others. Whether it's at work or whether it's in the marriage with loved ones, this is the problem where the problem could arise potentially if you don't manage your communication style and you don't manage your expectations of others and become too bossy. Then this could be a very good month for you. But the wrong communication style, making others, demanding too much of others, dredging up old issues, could actually damage the month. It's not a bad month, but like I said, it depends on you and your communication and how you nurture those important relationships in your life. Capricorn for August. Capricorn, your ascendant ruler Saturn has been retrograde in the 2nd house. This may be impacting you at a financial level. There may be a shortfall in maintaining good income levels, but more importantly, being able to save money may be a challenge at this time. There is also a possibility of sudden unplanned expenses that come up as well. These could relate to your family and health related matters. Mercury and Venus are retrograde in the 8th house, and it's not a good time to take on financial decisions or make risky investments. The 8th house is very active this month, and the 8th house denotes obstacles, struggles, things that come on suddenly. So Saturn being in the 2nd house, this could be expenses that come up suddenly, or expenses that you weren't planning for. And some of these, like I said, could be health matters or health expenses, also relating to some family members. Now, as far as your career is concerned, you may experience some mixed results in your careers because some Capricornians could experience a change in their career or even a transformation of sorts in their careers because of the fact that the 8th house is so activated. The 8th house does indicate, like I said, transformation. And so this could mean, like I said, job changes. It could also mean somebody changing their career totally because Saturn is retrograde and the 8th house gets activated. So people changing their careers, going in a completely different direction. Also, job changes, moving to a foreign land for a job. All of these could happen during all these retrograde phases. There's a possibility of some work-related travel as well. As far as health is concerned, it's not much of a concern this month, except there's a chance of some mental tension. Rahu Jupiter in the 4th house has made it a little bit tense for Capricorn, but because now the 8th house gets activated, so it might be a little tense month. But after the second half of the month, the tension seems to ease a little bit better. And the ongoing health issue for Capricorn has been their eating habits and their diet. And they should be paying attention to what they eat, but also to their eating schedule and making sure they eat their meals on time. Saturn in the 2nd house causes a person to eat stale food, extremely salty and fried food as well. So, and also it causes people to not eat on time. And this is what causes the digestive issues for Capricorn. If you've been having that, then those are the things you need to watch out for. So make sure you're eating healthy. Fresh food is what you need to eat, and make sure you eat on time. Otherwise, there's a chance of having some digestive issues. As far as love relationships is also concerned, they also need your care and understanding at this time, also all because of the 8th house activation. So it may disturb marital relationship with arguments and fights at this time due to ego issues, because the sun's in the 8th house due to ego issues. Try your best to manage your communication. Mercury is retrograde, so you may end up saying the wrong thing, the wrong time, bringing up old issues, and then starting a fight and argument about that. So try not to do that. As long as you don't do that, you manage what you say very carefully. Your speech is communication is pleasant. It should be okay. The Mercury retrograde phase is not very long, so just resist the urge to get into arguments. The one caution that I do have for Capricorn is to watch their mother's health. Take good care of her health as well as your own health. Overall, this might be a month of transformation, changes for Capricorn, and those changes could definitely be positive. Aquarius for August. Aquarius, your ascendant ruler Saturn is retrograde in the 1st house. So this is going to mainly impact your physical body and your mental situation as well. From a health situation, you may experience loss of energy and a sense of lethargy. You may also lose interest and lack the initiative to start or work on any new projects and work ideas. There is a possibility of high pressure related to additional work responsibilities and lack of work satisfaction. Mars is your career lord, and so that's going into your 8th house at the beginning of the month. So that would mean that there could be some delays or obstructions related to your career and profession. Financially, there may be some challenges as well due to chances of unwanted sudden expenses coming up. These could be related to something happened in the past, and now all of a sudden there's expenses coming up as a result of something that occurred in the past, and some of these expenses could just be very sudden, things that you didn't plan for. The main concern with Aquarius is going to be their health, the possibility of anxiety and mental stress and some sleep issues. And this is because Saturn is retrograde in their 1st house. So the 1st house is your physical body, your mental situation. So both Venus and Mercury retrograding can also cause some digestive issues as well. And the Saturn retrograde causes the body pain and the recurrence of any health issues from the past. Certainly a possibility of headaches is present as well. For Aquarius, the 7th house is extremely active because both the Mercury and Venus are retrograding in the 7th house, and then Sun moves in there in the middle of the month. So that indicates some friction in the marriage. If you have a business partner, then friction with that business partner as well. There's some chance of some arguments and fights. So the guidance is try your best to maintain positive communication and stay pleasant. And this is applicable to family relationships as well. There may be lack of harmony, there could be miscommunication issues as well. And that is because of the Mercury retrograde. So miscommunication happens a lot during Mercury retrogrades, especially for Aquarius, because it rules the house of children. It also rules the eighth house. So relationship with children, with loved ones, could be, there could be miscommunication in that. Misunderstandings arise because of that. So watch those two relationships as well. And then as far as Venus is concerned, you need to take care of your parents' health, because for Aquarius, Venus rules the houses that signify both the mother and the father. So Venus is going to be in a strange situation, first retrograde and then going through Gandant next month. So the next couple of months, you need to take care of both your parents' health at this time. And of course, nurture relationships. Don't get into fight. The sun in the 7th house is going to give some ego issues between the marital partner. Don't get into fights with them, and definitely don't dredge up old issues and start bringing up old issues and start creating fights over what they didn't do in the past, what they did in the past. Overall, it's a month where you have to focus on your own health because of work pressures, and try your best to maintain some harmony in relationships, as well as take good care of your mental stress situation, most importantly. Last but not the least, Pisces for August. Pisces, this month you have a very active 6th house, which means the main focus is going to be on the workplace, career, finance, and health matters. As far as career is concerned, your challenge is going to be in relationships with colleagues and superiors this month. Both Venus and Mercury are going to retrograde in the 6th house. So the 6th house does rule relationships with coworkers and your workplace. So you have to be kind of cautious about how you treat your colleagues and your expectations from your colleagues. You can't be too demanding of them this month. That might ruin your relationships. Also, don't bring up old past issues about things that somebody did or didn't do or whatever, and start a discussion on that. That won't end well, and it might ruin relationships. So keep your communication pleasant, expectations very, very reasonable. So if you have been waiting for a promotion or recognition of some sort, there may be a slight delay in that. And then business owners may also face a stiff competition from competitors this month. As far as finance is concerned, it's going to be a little bit of an up and down month, because the 6th house indicates loans and debts. So you need to control your expenses. Don't put yourself in a high debt situation, or take on high loans in order to make expensive purchases that you regret later. Financially, it's been an up and down situation for Pisces, because Jupiter Rahu is in the 2nd house of finance. So they have good income coming in, but because Saturn is in the 12th house, then they also have expenses. So basically that's why it's an up and down month, where there's good income, but then there's also very high expenses. This month, it's also not a good time to make any risky financial choices. As far as health is concerned, you may feel a lack of immunity. So possibility of cough and cold, and then because of Saturn's placement, there may be joint pain and some leg pain as well. If you've had it in the past, then it may resurface again. Mercury for you rules your domestic happiness as well as marital life and your spouse. So when it retrogrades after the 23rd of the month, you need to be very careful with your communication style and your attitude, especially with your spouse and people living at home. So don't be sarcastic in your communication, and don't pick up on the small details and get picky about them. With your relationships, and don't focus on what people are doing or not doing for you. Just take it easy so the relationship can be smooth. And relationship with children is going to be very good, pleasant. You're going to enjoy a good time with them, at least for the first half of the month. That's going to be good when the sun is in the 5th house. But as far as domestic relationships, you need to watch your communication very, very carefully. Otherwise, you may end up with conflicts. The Venus retrograde can impact your relationship with your siblings. So, if you bring up past issues, then, there could be a discussion, and then you could damage some relationships and have hurt feelings with miscommunication and misunderstanding. So That's the impact of the Venus retrograde. So refrain from getting into those kind of conflicting conversations with your siblings, and it should be okay. Also this month, it's not a real good time to start anything new, any new projects, new initiatives, new businesses because of the Venus retrograde. If you want to start something new, you probably be a good idea to wait until next month. With this, I come to the end of my video. I hope you've enjoyed the video. I'll see you on my next video. Goodbye for now, and good luck.